Welcome along to our latest edition of Get in the Habit with myself, David Finch, and my co-host, Sue Allsworth. How you doing, Sue?
Hi, Dave. I'm doing well, thank you. It seems we haven't had just you and me for a while. It feels like so it's nice to be intimate.
We've always got guests butting in, you know. It's just us this week, which is lovely, you know. And we're going to do a bit of a catch-up, I believe, on something that happened right at the start of the year. And it wasn't a New Year's resolution. It was something completely different. It was a Woty and a Poty. Woo-hoo! So let's chat about a Woty and a Poty again.
So we've got a Woty is the word of the year. So this is a word that I like to use the word vibration, that you want that vibration to sort of run through the current of that vibration to run throughout the whole of that year of something that you want to be, manifest, or how it whatever it is that you feel drawn to manifest, not necessarily manifest, to be embraced that year, or focus on. That's the word, probably the best word. What is you want to focus? What's your goal for that year? And then the Poty, that grew out of a conversation with someone, and I loved it. So I'm definitely up for the Poty now as well. And that is phrase of the year. So to take that little bit, you know, affirmations or power truths, as people who know me know that I call affirmations power truths, to take that Woty a little bit step further, maybe to back it up. So, Dave, what was your Woty? What is your Woty and Poty for 2021?
For me, it was a bit of a phrase. It was a potty, wasn't it? So with me, it was more of a potty rather than a Woty. So, which was rain or shine. So just to enlighten those people again that maybe didn't catch us back in January when we did this, the rain or shine came around with me going running, and it was, I'll go in the sun. I'll go running in the sun. Oh, I love it. You know, get out there and run along, and I'll go out for hours. If I woke up in the morning and I was planning on running that particular day and it was pouring down with rain, I'd go, no, let's do something else today. So it's like, no, I'm not running in the rain. That's not what turns me on. It's not what I'm about, you know? So I wouldn't do it. But something has happened, Sue. Now, this is weird, right? This is really weird. So I don't run every day. I run sort of every other day, and some days that, you know, I might miss a day because I'm particularly busy in the morning, and I love running in the morning as well, which seems a bit weird. But I'm one of these that I like to get up and go running, come back, and then start my day. Now, something weird has happened, and I don't know if it's some kind of spiritual thing, and I know you're big on the spiritual thing and the kind of putting these words out there, and we've spoke about this before, but this is weird. Get this. It seems to be every day that I plan to go running, it hasn't really rained a lot since we did it, you know, and it's like, how does that work then? So on the days that I'm not going running, it's not a plan, it's a rest day and stuff like that. It pours down. Like today, it's raining now, right? And today is a rest day. I went yesterday and it was okay. How does that work?
The universe is aligning with you, trying to clear the way to make it as enjoyable as possible, because it knows that although you'll go running in the rain, you won't necessarily enjoy it so much.
Yeah. And it's really working, you know?
How... because you had COVID way back at this sort of end of the year, beginning of the year. So how has your running been with having that? Because I know a lot of people have suffered with long COVID and that. Have you noticed a change, and how have you coped with that?
Still not as good as I was. So, you know, I'm doing 5K okay now, and I haven't stretched myself to go. Well, I did a 6K one day, and it's not the second half of the run. It's the first half of the run that I struggle. It's getting my breath going. Once I'm going, so about the first K really of any sort of run, first kilometre, I'm very slow, slower than I was, put it that way, you know, because I can't get my breath as I used to. So I thought, right, okay, I'm going to do this one of two ways. I'm either going to stop running altogether, which I didn't want to do, because I go, I can't get my breath. So it's using that as an excuse almost. or I'm going to have to slow down and start all over again. So that's what I did. And I rewound my brain back to when I first started running, which was a couch to 5K. And when you do couch to 5K, you do a walk, run, walk, run, walk, run, and you build up to 5K. So I thought, okay, that's what I'll have to do. I'll start all over again. And that's it. So that's what I've been doing. If I walk during that run, I don't beat myself up about it. I go, well, that's it. That's what I'm doing today. You know, I haven't got the breath. I can't do it as I normally would have done. I mean, blimey, a couple of years ago, I'd done a half marathon, you know, so I know I can. It's just getting back to that position again. And I thought, right, I've got to retrain my body, retrain my mind, get everything going and start all over again.
And do you find, I know with some people that I've spoken to who've had COVID and that, do you find that for no rhyme or reason, one day you're fine and you can run and do okay, and then the next day you're actually struggling to even get up the stairs sometimes from breathlessness, but there's no sort of logic to it?
No, there is
that?
no logic. Yeah. Yeah, it really does. And it has actually really has knocked me for six, which is crazy because when I had it, I didn't have it that bad. You know, I had what I say to people, look, I had like a bad cold. That was it. I had a cough, you know, but the rest of the symptoms wasn't that bad at all. And again, I put that down to the fact that I'm quite a fit person, you know. I keep myself fit, eat good food, you know, I don't drink, I don't smoke, do all that sort of stuff. So look after myself. And I think good job I did because it could have been a lot worse, you know.
I think even with that, I know people who have been really fit and healthy and still got it, and it's not. I think it's luck of the draw of your body's physiology. I think more than anything, and it's. I think it's quite important. It's a good thing to bring up because you know we're moving into a world where hopefully catching COVID is safer, as in we'll be kept out of hospitals. But this doesn't actually stop the long COVID that is attached to COVID. And again, it's pot luck on whether a lot of people who have had less, say, mild COVID have had more problems with long COVID. Whether there's anything in that, I don't know. But it's interesting because I suffer from chronic fatigue, and so I know that feeling of, you know, one day I could get out and go and walk 4, 5, 6 miles, I'm fine. The next day or the next week or what have you, get up and it's just like I'm struggling to get up and down the stairs, the legs are seizing up and just, you know, for no reason. And I think that's one of the most frustrating things is when, you know, on your good day you're fine. But when you have an illness or a condition, you know, something like that, it's not seen. You can't see long COVID. You can't see chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia. You can't see all of these things. So it's the bugger because you're like, well, I was okay yesterday. What have I done? Then you think, what have I done wrong? Because you think it's your fault that you're not as good as you were, and you know that can. So it's but I'm glad the rain or shine. I'm glad it's more shine than rain for you.
It is. It seems to be working, you know, and you know, like you say, I don't know if that's kind of that alignment thing you were saying, or everything's coming in because I know you love all that sort of stuff. For me, it's just pot luck. It's like, yeah, all right. So it's not raining today, so maybe that's what it is. So maybe I get up and I go, oh, look, it's not raining. And I go, oh, today's running day, isn't it? You know, and maybe I'm matching it up. Who knows, you know?
Yeah.
But it certainly has been more sunny and less rain on the days when I do plan to go running, which is it's just working, which is great. So how's things working with you? Because you got your potty, choose the vibration of life. Which I of love. No, love. Sorry. So, love. Yeah, of love. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So, which I love that. So, how is that working out for you?
So my potty is I choose the vibration of love, and my Woty is embodiment. And this year has sort of thrown me more of a curveball, I think, than last year with everything. You know, with the pandemic, I just sort of went online, did the summits, filled a gap. It wasn't necessarily for my own business, shall we say, but I filled a gap for what us as therapists needed.
Yeah.
And this year, and I've been thinking about it this morning, and I've sort of had to completely pull back from social media and everything, and take that time out that I've been given this opportunity twice before, and I didn't take it. 3 times possibly, actually. And the universe is now saying to me, Sue, stop. So I'm having to choose the vibration of love with me being less active, not as in physically, but as in work wise. I didn't realize how much of a hamster, like the hamster wheel that I was on. And we're actually going back
Oh, yeah.
decades from this. It's a pattern that I've been working
Right.
through in the last sort of 3 months, since I've been off social media. I've been working sort of more on my own journey. And, something traumatic or big happens, I get through it, I go straight into the next thing. Then straight into the next thing. And it was like, oh my goodness, a lot of things, and I've coped, I've got through all of the trauma and everything, but sometimes what I was consumed with earlier this year, in the last few months, was sadness. What I
Right.
didn't realize was I had acknowledged a lot of acceptance with things that had happened to me in the past, forgiveness. I'd gone through a lot of the big things, but I'd actually forgotten to be sad about it.
Right.
Now that sounds strange, because sadness to me feels a bit of a guilty pleasure. What have
Oh,
I got to Because what have I got to be sad about? Because in theory, I've got a good life. I've had some shit
yes.
happen, but I've actually still got, I've had shit happen, but I've had a safety net. I've had a family. I've had support, love, and all of those. So you get that little bit of guilt of, well, what have I got to feel guilty about?
Mm.
My little things in life, but they're not little to me.
Yeah, that's right.
And when you go from one thing to another, I think I am a bit of an all or nothing person, and it's almost like I've been living in that fight or flight system. So when I pulled back this year and came off, it actually took me a month where I had to sort of literally force myself to do nothing with love
Yeah.
for myself, to embody doing nothing. I had to program the brain to not constantly wake up and think, oh, what do I need to do today? What can I do to make my business this, or to make this, to completely stop the body, stop the brain, to unwind the body, and to do it with love, without judgment, and to
Yeah.
embody that process. When I used the word embody at the beginning of the year, I didn't know what that would actually entirely mean. I knew that would be revealed to me further on in the year. And
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I was going to have to do something a bit. It almost feels like, I haven't completely pulled the plug, because I'm still here with you, and I've got my Facebook page and my website and that. But it's almost feels like I've had to like pull the plug of electricity so that I can stop that surge overloading me,
Yeah.
and my mind and my brain and my body, and to take this time to stop. You know, have a hysterectomy. How do you get over that? You go to Peru. You come back from Peru for 6 years, give yourself 2 weeks, and then you fall into care work to help people. And I don't regret anything. Please don't get me wrong. This isn't a moan or a complaint. I was exactly where I needed to be for the people that I needed to be.
Yeah.
A pandemic happens, and I immerse myself into other ways of how to help us, and with the summits and that. And I've suddenly realized I need to stop for me. I still
Yes.
will want to do the business, but at the moment I just need to stop, and to do that with love and not judgment and guilt. So I'm in quite a transitional, deep phase with
Yeah.
it all, that I'm still exploring. I've gone to my mentor for some. I actually said the other day, I said, right, I need a 4-hour workshop just for me, because we do group work and everything, but I for me, for me to get to the truth of me, I need to work with just one-to-one, which is why I prefer work one-to-one with people rather than in groups. Because when you're going through stuff, I just need, I need my own stuff. I don't need the noise of other things.
Yeah, other
And I've
people as
just
well.
learned
Yeah.
that works best for me. And also when you're really traveling through it and you want to embody it, you've got to, you know, go on that journey, because there's only one you that can go on it. So I
Yeah.
said, look, you know, I've got a bit of money that I've put aside just for me, because I would normally go away for a week once a year for a retreat to take my personal development further, deeper.
Yeah.
In 2019, I did an Art of Dying retreat, which was amazing. And then prior to that, I'd done a week retreat, a Tantra retreat that were, you know, so I look and explore all different aspects. Haven't been able to do that this year.
No,
And
that's
I
right.
was there supporting and providing a service for you guys and everyone. And I kind of forgot myself, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I think that's a good thing though. So I think sometimes, you know, we all need to stop and take that pause and go, right, where am I
no,
going? What am I doing?
this isn't a pause at the moment,
Well,
because I've
stop
used
then.
pause. No, but this is
Yeah.
it. You see, I've used pause too often, which means that my wheels are still running. I've had
Right.
to literally make myself stop
Yeah.
until, you know, if work came into my head, oh, what could I do? Stop thinking about. I've had to retrain my brain to not think constantly
Yeah.
about certain things. And it wasn't until, because I probably moved into this phase at the end of my having my first COVID jab. As grateful as I am, it did flare up my CEFS and fibro and everything, which is fine, not a problem. But it actually forced me to stop, which was probably what I
Yeah.
needed, because I'm how many of us can put our hands up that unless the universe puts something physically, and it can put it there, and we right in our face, and we can still ignore it, and it will still keep presenting something in your face until you go, okay, I'm taking the hint.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
Yep.
And so stop for me really has meant, um, you know, I'm trying to walk more at the moment, partly to keep my dad fit, who had his
Right.
heart attack during lockdown last year,
Yeah.
to get out with him. And, you know, if someone was to ask me what was my most important thing to me right now to focus on, and this isn't long term, you know, it's long term, but for right now, it's to spend as much quality time. We're sort of like moving out of lockdown. We as a family, you know, if people haven't listened before, then I live with my two best friends who just happen to be my parents. So I've been very blessed in this. Our life to that degree hasn't changed much because we've always been together. But we're still being quite cautious, to be fair. But as a family, we want to go out and about and move around a little bit more in our own little bubble. And we've got this holiday coming up, and it's just really, before I've been on holidays, I've taken my laptop and I'm half on holiday and I'm half on work, because you can take
Yeah.
your work with you wherever you go. And I've, you know, although I'm taking my laptop with me, mainly because we want to watch Netflix films on the TV.
Right.
Yeah, I'm still in that transition of, I'm slowly starting to be creative again. And I've got a little project that I'm putting together slowly, of a new journal journey book, maybe. But I'm not pushing it, I'm not rushing it. And I'm just reminding myself to breathe and to really connect to life again,
Yeah.
with love, and embody it with love for myself at the
Yeah.
moment.
So I think they've really worked out well for you at the moment. You know, like you said, right at the start of the year, you didn't really realize what that would work out to be. 6 months into the year, you've realized, okay, I need to do this, this, and this. Stop and then review, see where you are. Let's check in towards the end of the year and see how it all pans out, shall we?
I have to admit, if you'd said to me at the beginning of the year that I would be embodying sadness,
Yeah.
that's not what would have been on my list. So
Yeah.
it's been a really, because you think you want to embody the positive things, but sometimes actually embodying sadness and going through that, this process, which I still am, it's not a negative thing.
No.
It's not a negative thing at all. And I'm feeling happier just by going back and, you know, as I say, acknowledging something, loss, acknowledging loss of things. Not that I wanted them in the first place necessarily,
Yeah.
but just going back and allowing that the child that it happened to, or the adult, or whatever age I was, to actually acknowledge that that happened. It's okay. We're okay, and we're all good with it. It's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird feeling sad about something, but without feeling resentment or anger. Because I'm not angry about any of it, because I've done a lot of the work. But the
Yeah.
one emotion that I was struggling to recognize, actually, once I recognized it in my workshop, it was like, oh, okay, oh, right, now I know what I can embrace and what to
Yeah.
do and where to go. But until
That's
you
it.
know what it is that you're dealing with, what emotion is it that I'm dealing with here? You know, am I depressed? Do I put myself in, have I been depressed for the last few months? But actually, I was low, but it was because I wasn't dealing with this one particular emotion and
Yeah.
confronting it. And so as I'm slowly doing that, I'm feeling freer. My creativity is able to slowly come back again because I
Yeah.
haven't got that cloud looming over me. So no, it has been
Good.
so far, yeah, I wouldn't have it, I wouldn't have expected this to be where my Woty and my Potty or how light, but it is. So I'm embracing and embodying the lessons that the universe
Yeah.
is giving me.
And yeah, we're all human, and as therapists, we chose to do that as a job. But as therapists, we still need to have self care, and you've been absolutely proving that is that we all need to look after ourselves as well, and to recognise sometimes that sometimes we need the help. You know, we are the therapists. We don't have all the answers. We're not like, amazing people that have all the answers. We come across like that with our clients. But sometimes you've got to put yourself in your client's shoes and think, what would I tell my client if my client was sitting there saying this? What would I tell them? You have to tell it to yourself sometimes. And I think
Yeah,
that's what you've done, isn't it?
it is. And that pulling the plug almost, you're thinking, oh, will I lose the connections that I've made and all of this? But actually, I have to keep reminding myself, humans are still there. New connections can always be made.
Yeah.
I'm still here with my website and everything. So everything's still there. I've just had to pull back for me. And as you said, I always remember there was one retreat I went on a few years ago, and we were moving into the last couple of days, which was sort of a special individual ceremony that we were all having in our own little pods in a group. Quite intense. And the night before, we had our last sort of session exercise, because we'd have one, and it'd be full on all day in the evening. And in the evening, I can remember sitting there in a group of 50 people. And as we were walking to it, I could see people tired, and they're going, oh, I really, and I'm actually saying to them, if you're that tired, you need to honor yourself. Look, we're all here to be able to set our boundaries, honor ourselves. And if you need to say no, say no. So the woman who's running the course is telling us what we're going to be doing. And I'm looking around at all these faces who are telling me that are knackered and weren't doing anything. And then she asked, has anyone got any questions? And I felt my hand just went up without me even thinking about it. And I can remember sitting there going, do you know what? I've got nothing left in me to give. I've got nothing left in me to receive even. I'm spent. And they just said, do you need to go to bed? And I said, I actually do tonight. I really do. And I was worried about how people would feel if I rejected 50 people, because I didn't want to be in that
Yeah.
involved in, and how would they be the next day? Well, I had a lovely night's sleep, a lovely night off. I was refreshed for the 2 day full of ceremonies that were going to be full on. And the amount of people the following day that came up gave me a big hug and in my ear whispered, I really wish I'd done the same as you, because I'm
Wow.
absolutely exhausted. And it was like,
Yeah.
actually, yeah, it's like, this might not be the popular choice to unplug for whatever reason, or it might not be the comfortablest choice, you know, but this is a boundary that I need to have in place for me right now.
Yeah.
And having the cojones, the balls to say, you know, stop.
Yeah, that's it. I think you've done well. Well, let's check in end of the year, about December time, November, December, and we'll see where we are then, shall we? Brilliant. So as always, it's been lovely having a chat with you on our own today as well. But let's just say, if anyone wants to be a guest on our future Get in the Habit podcast, please get in touch. The details of getting in touch are on our show notes. So get in touch with us. If you want to be a guest, we'd love to have a chat with you one day. And maybe towards next year, we'll find out what your Woty and Poty is as well.
Yes,
So,
I know. Or if anyone's got a Woty and Poty that they've been using but not spoken about, we would love to hear about it. So yeah, do please, probably best I'd say get in touch with me, because I seem to be the PA here. So Sue Allsworth, Authentic Smile. You'll find me somewhere on Facebook at least. So yeah, it'll be Dave. Love having our one-to-one little chats.
Yeah, lovely today. Good to catch up. And I'll see you again next week.
Yeah, take care everyone. Stay safe.
See you everyone.